Well, I am Angela Montano, and this is a very, very, very special edition of Prayer on the Air. On Prayer on the Air, we come together from 75 different countries, and usually everybody comes live. We talk about prayer. We practice holding one another in a perception of wholeness that heals, and we come together from Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, unaffiliated to anything, atheist, but we practice this perception of healing. And instead of doing that today, I get to talk to my dear, dear, dear friend, Jennifer Holt. And just to tell you a little bit about Jennifer, she is a licensed professional, clinical counselor. She's a therapist, an executive coach, an energetic healer. She works quite a bit with EMDR, eye movement desensitization reprocessing, and NLP, neuro linguistic programming. And and do a bunch of other things, play the violin, sing incredibly beautifully. And I met Jennifer 36 years ago when I think we had both pretty much newly arrived to Los Angeles. Or were you there a little bit before me?
Oh no, I was very new as well.
Right. And I was always trying to find a new place to live. And I'll never forget this, like back, almost like living in a garage apartment that you were in at one time. Say that again?
It was a garage.
Yeah. And, Jennifer and I have not lived in the same city in all these years, for very long. I mean, I don't know. We were probably together, 5 years in LA?
Mhm.
Yeah. But we have maintained our connection. And I consider Jennifer to be a person that can go to the depth. Like if I'm in my darkest, 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 darkest day, it's Jennifer that I know that can meet me there with acceptance, with space, and not be threatened by my feelings. And I'm a person who has difficult feeling my feelings or accepting my feelings. And Jennifer has been such an amazing, strong stand for me in the beauty of every emotion without moralizing emotions. And, we experimented a lot, in our spirituality as we were really I consider us on a spiritual path together. I remember when you decided once, I'm not going to do anything unless I deeply feel moved to do it. And you didn't have enough money, you didn't take work, you ate chocolate, and then one day you took your violin out of your closet and you hadn't played your violin in the longest time, but you felt it was the first like authentic movement, and you were so bold, so badass, you were willing to wait for whatever is true. And I've seen you move to different places. Jennifer's also a sound healer. You moved to, I think it was Colorado once, to go to sound healing school, but you got there and like it was not the thing. So we've known each other through like random passages, but always with the intention. I don't know that we ever said together we are intending to wake up. I've never used that languaging, like to wake up to reality. But what I've always said is, I don't want to suffer anymore. I'm interested in what reduces or eliminates suffering. And again, through different challenges in my life, Jennifer's life, we've, called and texted and been there. If I have a crisis, I know I can call Jennifer, and whenever she's done with clients, she will call me, as soon as she's available. I consider you like, I don't know exactly who I would exactly name, but I've said to people, I feel like I have a prayer posse. Like I have just a handful, a few people that if, I could reach out to them and they could right mind me and right heart me, center me in my heart. And you're one of those few people. And it's one of the reasons why I started Prayer on the Air and Rethink Prayer is I do dream of a world where everyone has that. that we have a language that we can speak to help bring ourselves into the love that is. Anyway, I would like to, Jennifer, if you're okay, read the text I got from you earlier this week.
Sure.
Okay. So the last text, was in August 21st, and now it's January, so that's not unusual for us. So Jennifer writes me Monday at 7:56 a.m. LA time. I've had a profound shift that started late last night. I'm almost afraid to speak about it. It feels so precious to me. I was listening to an Eckhart Tolle video where he quoted Saint Exupery. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. How do you say it?
Exupery.
Exupery, thank you. Who said, "It is only the heart that can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." And suddenly everything shifted for me, and I was able to observe the world, my immediate surroundings, from a very different perspective. It felt a little bit like when I have been on acid. I felt consciousness in everything, both animate and inanimate. The vibration of the universe and twinkling energy pulsing from everything outlined in light. And all of a sudden, my issues became right-sized instead of overwhelming. It felt so easy, like, of course, that's been there all along, but I just didn't quite turn my gaze that direction, thinking it was irrelevant or something. And I'm not sure if this is what Eckhart is talking about, but for me, it brought me to a place of wonder and present moment awareness. And that's all that matters. I stayed in and out of that space all night long. It was so wonderful to wake up and still feel that open, twinkling energy surrounding everything. This morning when I woke up, it is the first time in so long that I actually woke up happy and energetic and looking forward to the day. And I am continuing to stay in that sense of presence that I think will never be far for me. I feel as if 68 years of sadness and trauma and suffering have been dissolved. And for this moment, it is good. I don't think a text has ever made me happier. Tell us how you are and more about that. And, if you were me, what would you want to know?
First, just sit with me.
Okay.
So sitting in this space of present moment awareness is really all there is. Everything else is now kind of muted, background noise. I'm still doing what I need to do. I'm still me, but this is where I live now. And it's only been a week where I live now. And it's kind of where I want to be all the time. I mean, I still do my activities, but I'm just happy here. And I mean, my whole life I've tried to meditate and could never meditate. I just couldn't do it. It was like, oh. And now for me, this isn't a meditation. It's not a prayer. It's just presence. And my grandfather was a beekeeper and was a very famous beekeeper. He started Subi Honey and helped put me through college, which will always be grateful for. But the word bee has always been a very special word to me as sort of a play on words, the honeybee for just being.
Hmm.
And that word is where I live now in beingness, in being, letting it be, being with what is. And it's really nothing short of a miracle to live here and to have this opportunity to talk to you from that place, because I'm really consciously keeping myself really present with what is, as opposed to, oh, I should say this, or I should do that, or I should look like this. No, I just want to be present with you, one of the most precious people on the planet to me.
Mm. I
And go ahead.
No, you go.
No, you go.
No, I was just going to say, just you dropping into presence and or inviting me to drop into presence. I can feel all the affectations just fall.
Yeah, I mean, my ego, I have a very strong ego. I have a I had a very, very big pain body. And I'm very good at performative. I'm very good at being a performer, literally. I was one for decades. But I finally understand what the ego is now. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just that part of us that's been trying to defend us and protect us and keep us well our whole lives. And yet, what it succeeds in doing is separating us from the all that is. I've got to do this. I should do this. What do they think of me? Where should I go? What do I look like? Am I going to be good enough? Will people accept me? I lived there in a big way for my whole life, and that's gone.
I wonder what happened, in the listening to this video, because I was it in the text I read or in the next one that you sent me. Uh, Let me see if I can find it. This has really, really struck me because I feel like I've been here so many times. And you said, it felt so easy, like, of course, that's been there all along, but I just didn't quite turn my gaze in that direction, thinking that it was irrelevant or something. I feel like I've had opportunities and I've had that thought, oh, well, that's irrelevant. Like, I don't know, something about that wording, like it's what, as I've listened to various people who've had this kind of shift, it's interesting. Like, it's just turning your gaze, or it's right there. Like you said, it felt so easy. I wonder what happened that you didn't believe what maybe you believed before. Oh, that's irrelevant. Like, I wonder what, you know,
Well,
had you look.
first of all, I've been through the worst year of my life, of a very tortured, suffering life. And I'm not saying all of it was necessarily needed, but a lot of it I had no control over. I had a very tough childhood and a tough life in many ways. And I've also been very gifted with other things. But um, as you get older, a lot of stuff falls away. And my last relationship fell away. I ended up getting really ill and moved to Minnesota from California to go to the Mayo Clinic, and they did save my life, literally. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And dealing with some really big chronic health issues, though, and I'm losing my sight. It's just a fact. But um, I had just reached this place of being completely and utterly hopeless. And I've been suicidal since I was 7. I mean, I had a father with an enormous pain body that I kind of inherited, I think. And All of my siblings are kind of the same way. We have huge pain bodies, and there's just a lot of suffering there. Um, but this year was absolutely horrible, and I reached a point of really being ready to take myself out, and months and months of really hardly seeing anyone, talking to anyone. I don't know many people here. The few things I tried to create in terms of friendships blew up. I felt awful. I was beating myself up a lot about who I was, that I wasn't enough or too much or blah, 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 all that shit we do. And that particular day, I had been out with a new friend and it had not gone well. It went very badly. And I came home and was just crying and crying and crying because I didn't feel like I was ever going to be able to be happy again, ever find friends, ever have peace, anything again. So I would say for me, at the absolute bottom of my life ever. And part of why I love Eckhart Tolle so much is because he says really clearly, if you are in intense suffering, that's the best time to wake up. So instead of feeling like, oh, I've got to somehow get myself up to a better place before I can be taken seriously here and you like awaken, he's saying, no, exactly where you are is right now is when you get to go. You get to go into it and be it. And if you are in suffering, that's the best time. Just leave it behind and move. And somehow, I mean, I had been watching Eckhart Tolle videos for a few days, not like a long time, but a few days. I'd watched a ton of them though, because I didn't know what else to do. And so that night I was just watching video after video. I just was like crying and watching these videos. And what happened is that I talked in the text about the twinkly energy. So I've had that twinkly energy many times in my life.
Mhm.
But that's the piece that I had thought before, oh, that's irrelevant. You're just going into that weird psychedelic space, Jennifer. Stop that.
Mhm.
That's not the moment. That's you going into that weird state you go into. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
For me, I had always thought I thought it would look differently. You know how we have these preconceptions,
Yes.
like lifted above and everything will be super clear, whatever it was. But for me, what it looked like, and I think it's different for every person, what it still continues to look like when I'm deeply immersed in present moment, like right now, it's a little bit less because I'm talking so much, but when I'm deeply present and immersed, I feel high. I feel like I'm on acid. I really do. I feel like like my vision changes. Things become more pulsing with light, with energy. Like that's the thing I mean about there's energy everywhere, like your painting, your plant, your desk, the cloth that you have on, the chair you're sitting in, the doorway, everything is pulsing with consciousness. It's all consciousness. It's all conscious,
And
you know.
so is it like when you see that or it's revealed to you, it's like whatever interpretation or story you tell yourself about what is, it sounds like it releases and then you're just with presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a cool thing about my parents and everybody else that I had these things with. And I've had a lot. I'm an intense person. I'm on the spectrum, which I love to say. I am on the spectrum, a very high functioning spectrum person, highly sensitive, an unusual person, as you know. But for years, I mean, I'm a trauma therapist. For years, I have been judging my parents and trying to work out the trauma with them and forgive them and do all that work because I am a forgiveness therapist too. I do that. I do a lot of forgiveness work. But when I awoke, that all of the opinions, the need to fix it, the need to be okay with them, the need to love them, the need to feel loved by them, all of that is gone. They are just two people who happened to raise me, they did their lives the way they wanted to do their lives. It isn't even about, oh, you did the best you could. I don't think they did, but it doesn't matter anymore. It's like they were just two people who lived their lives, and I happened to be born to them. And that's okay. There's nothing there. I don't even need to bless them like, oh, everything's good. No, it's gone. That's gone. And same with all the people that I have felt judged by or I have judged. That's gone. Like I just don't have, it's still there a little bit, but oh, I hate her or I feel so unworthy or whatever, that stuff is just gone. It's just it's so interesting to be kind of in a different reality now where that stuff just feels irrelevant.
Well, what's your work been like? What has it been like seeing clients from this place
Right?
or doing forgiveness work from this place?
I know. Mm, it's already shifting. I mean, I'm still doing my work. EMDR is a very
Hmm.
specific protocol. But of course, a lot of my work is talking, and I'm an energetic healer, and I'm in running that energy, and that energy has become extremely intense. And I can feel it shifts the plane that we're working on. And and it's good. But I have thought about, changing my practice a little bit, like in terms of how I advertise to being more of a consciousness raising healer as opposed to a trauma therapist.
Yeah.
Because that whole definition, trauma therapist, it doesn't fit for me anymore. That's not the focus I want to work or I want to look at anymore.
Well, I studied a couple of years ago, got really into something called the fetter work, the Buddhist fetter work. And the 10 Buddhist fetters are 10 assumptions we do not question that forms the ego. And the first assumption is there is a me. I'm the controller, the narrator, the manager of this life. And I I actually saw there's no one here. Like woman sitting, hand picks up cup, brings it to mouth. And it was like everything still worked, but it was more of a feeling like being done rather than I'm doing. Like, and it was very, very free. And I even felt at times as I was doing this work that I was just, I don't know how to say it, but unbound, just unbound consciousness. And I was happy, very, very happy. And, but then I would get hooked again. I was, you know, I do feel a shift from that work I did, a profound shift. Um, but not like what you have here.
Well, we've both been on this path for a long time of spiritual consciousness, I mean, I've been on many paths for many years as a student. And I think from every path I've learned and I've grown.
Hmm.
But this thing that just happened is completely different from each one of those steps that I took.
Yeah.
Because through all of those programs, I continued to suffer.
Yes.
I continue to hate myself. I continue to be insecure and unsure. And looking back, I can see now the nuggets that they were trying to give me, like in the Islamic Sufi school I was in for 8 years. They talk about the kun, which is the same thing as bi. It's the same exact thing. And about, being in the kun. And I'd be just like, whatever, what the fuck? I don't know what they mean by that, but okay. I mean, I wasn't able, it wasn't the right moment, or I wasn't ready, or whatever it is, because I do think a lot of it is it happens when it's supposed to happen. But yeah, when this happened, I am, to use 12-step slogan because I am in two 12-step programs that I work really hard. I'm happy, joyous, and free right now. And I have been so, so unhappy and so much self-hatred and so much suffering and so much wanting to leave the planet for so many years. So to be able to say that and to wake up every morning and go, it's still here. And actually through the night, I stay in self-awareness and I'll have dreams and wake up and I'm still, this thing is still happening, I mean, which is reassuring because I don't know. But one thing I do want to say is I feel like I had a big leap and I left behind the pain body and the suffering, at least for now.
Hmm.
In but I do believe that I'll just continue to progress and get stronger, and the awareness will continue to grow. So I think sort of like for me, it feels like I was like kind of this. I went through a period. God, how many years ago was that? Remember when I was at the Parliament for World Religions, I presented there.
Yes, yes.
And I got really discouraged because I felt like everybody was in their ego. And then I just shut down and went to this place where I was just completely non-spiritual. I didn't do anything for many years. I just couldn't pray. I didn't have anything to do with it. But anyway, so I've kind of been like this, right? And then this thing was like, like miles up in the ethers this thing but again, now from the place that I'm at now, I still think it's going to be continuing to, you know,
Well, when
trans.
I felt the absence of a me, I mean, when I say a me, it's like an identity. Before it was like there's almost like a character in my head, Angie Angela, and she's almost like my avatar. I've got to keep her not fat and hopefully she'll say the right thing and got to keep her aging well. Like I've got to constantly improve upon her. And it was like it's all imagination. And I worked really, really hard on her. I mean, really hard. And I thought, well, I'll do nothing now. Like I won't have any motivation. I had a guide in the Feder work, an amazing woman, Camille, who just is extraordinary. And I was like, well, I built this whole life with prayer. What's going to happen to me with prayer? And she says, I don't know. You'll find out. She says, but you'll probably just experience deeper prayer. And that did happen. So it's interesting in your energy work, you're experiencing even more intensity. And yet, like what you call yourself, the direction your work goes, the titles may change. Yeah.
Because I don't see prayer as what I do. I think that for you, that's your container, or it has been. And to a certain extent, it's semantics,
Yes.
because I honestly feel like when you're sitting in presence, you're sitting in presence. And I have certainly had you pray for me. And that was you know, and what I see there's a difference. Eckhart says this, and I agree with it, that there's the horizontal, which is, what am I going to do tonight? How am I going to do? Am I praying well enough? Am I looking good enough? That's the horizontal. The vertical is when you just go straight to source or beingness, whatever you want to call it. And when you pray for me, that's what happens. So whatever we want to call it, I don't really care. For me, it's in
Yeah.
present.
But I like that. That's what happens for me when I pray too. And it's like where you are right now being, you're in the vertical and you're not mucking around here in the horizontal, or at least not so much anymore. Or if you do,
Yeah,
you've got access to this.
yeah, still a little, I would say. I mean, I'm dealing with some issues with a house I own and a tenant, and it's very difficult. She wants to sue about everything. Um, I answered the text. I went talked to a board. I wrote out a long, long letter with all my proof, all that stuff, kind of remaining in presence, but sort of, I could feel ego tugging my, like, what if she sues you? You could lose everything. You know what I mean? And then I just go, is that true? So that's kind of Byron Katie, right? Like, is that really true? No.
Yeah.
All I know is right now, I'm fine. I'm good. It's
Yeah.
gonna be okay. I am, well, I don't even know if it's gonna be okay is appropriate. It's just I am okay.
Yes.
I'm okay right now. I did what I had to do. So I completed that, sent it off because I have had people, I've heard people say before in different groups I've sat in who were starting to awaken. But what do I do now? I don't feel like I should do anything. I should just sit here and be awake. No, you still do your life. You still take care of your life tasks as much as possible. You remain in presence as you're doing them. And when they're done, then you can go back into deeper presence, is how I would say it. But this has been a week. I mean, I'm not an expert.
No, but I felt the reality of it immediately with that first text and as we've texted since. Yeah, it's like what I feel like when I've entered into prayer and I've found my way from the horizontal to the vertical for a moment or a day or anything, it's like somehow everything is unconditional. Like when I'm in the horizontal, I feel like, well, this is going to affect me this way. This is going to affect me that way. Or I'm going to affect that person this way. But as you describe where you're at, it feels like you're in the unconditional. And that must be kind of you've dropped past and future. Byron Katie, who I love so much, says if you want guilt, get a past. If you want future, if you want terror, get a future. And she goes, I'm a woman without anticipation. And I feel that in you. Like your mind or old ways may habitually want to anticipate what's going to happen with that tenant. Like, that's how we're conditioned, what's going to happen next is what's important, not this moment, this presence. And it sounds like you're living so much more um, like it's captivated your attention here, here-ness,
Mhm.
nowness. You know, it,
Much more in the heart. I
yeah.
like that you said that because that's what it feels like to me right now is this deep. So I've been told by a couple of my healers this year that, where's your heart? You're not in your heart. You're not allowing yourself to love, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, yeah, because I'm in deep self-hatred and want to die. So there's a good reason for that. But that has definitely happened. Can you hear that buzz?
No,
Because there's somebody using a drill somewhere, but okay.
can hear.
So what's happened for me definitely has been this outpouring of love. My heart is open. My heart opened. It is only with the heart that we can see rightly. I mean, something has really, really, really shifted for me. And one thing I'm really aware of, I didn't realize until now how much I was worried about people's opinions of me and having approval and needing to be approved of. And that's gone. That's gone. It's such a freedom to be like, I don't care what they think of me. This is me. I'm going to be me. I don't, you know, it's just so different, to have that be lifted. Yeah.
Mm. I had a theory, and I guess I've carried it with me for years and years that like the internet, the creation of the internet was like some kind of physical manifestation of global mind, like via the internet now, we have access to so much knowledge. We could learn different languages, it's now accessible everywhere. Now we may not use it for greater education and learning, but it's here for us. And I thought that the next thing, if that is some kind of outpicturing of the global mind, that we need an outpicturing of the global, like we have to awaken to the global heart, the one heart. And I like what Rupert Spira says, let your head sink into your heart. And that's what I also see when I see you today, like all the mind chatter that you would take to be you and your life and judge it however you did. It just feels like all of that has has come to rest in the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine if we could all have these awakenings. Do you have any advice or like any, I know this happened spontaneous for you, but do you have anything that you feel like from this place, this is what I would want to share?
Let's just sit for a bit because I think honestly, a lot of it just comes from transmitting. I think a lot of it with Eckhart Tolle
Yeah.
is just transmission. He's transmitting energetically, and I
Mm-hmm.
caught it.
Yeah.
So I think that what for me, it's almost like a different lens goes over my eyes. I go into an altered state where, again, your whole, it's like there's light all around you and there's light pulsing everywhere again, all around your whole body. And it's almost like you remember those pictures that if you looked at them long enough that you could see a second picture inside of them,
Yeah, I was
'cause, but
always
you had to
really bad.
change your gaze.
Yeah, I was always really bad at that. I was scared. But I loved it when I did get, but I would stare a long time. Yeah. Yeah. Then you'd
But
see a
it's
whole
like
different
that
scene, but it is like that, isn't it? Yeah.
for me. Yes, it's
You.
like when I go into the deep, it's just a whole different energy. A deep, deep, wide, yummy, delicious energy that's flowing through everything. There's so much light, pulsing light and incredibly intelligent and more real, so real as opposed to my little me that was so consumed with trying to do it right or be this or be that. And I can love how hard she tried. And I choose to be here now. And so that makes that little me so much happier anyway,
Hmm.
because she's still there. She's still a part of me. But the just immense joy that I feel right now, transmitting with you and feeling that showering light and love and connection. It's like you're effaced in light. So for me, it's very much about light, this psychedelic energy. There's lots of colors now in the light. It's just a very strong visual thing. But even when I close my eyes, it's the same thing. It's just like going and going into that flow. Eckhart talks about, I still am watching his videos all the time. I just love him so much. But he talks about being on the in the depths of the ocean, not in the waves. So being down here, sinking to the
Hmm.
bottom of the ocean and letting all the thoughts and the stuff up here. It's okay. Still can be there, but that's not where I live anymore. I live underneath that.
Wow. You know, I've heard it described before too as like, I wonder if it's like this for you at all, or these words may not fit at all, but like, you know how like you might go by a shop and smell that pretzel, or a pizza place, smell that, and that's just what you smell. And then you might see a flower or a tree and you pass by that and that's what you see. But when you pass by it, you don't smell it anymore. You don't see it anymore. You've moved on. And you know that's just in the field of sight or in the field of smell. And I've heard that when people have awakenings, thought is like that. It's just like thoughts think, but they're not your thoughts anymore. Like you're not bound to that thought, stuck in that thought. Is that relate at all for you? Like thoughts
Hmm.
don't have like when I suffer, thoughts have tremendous power over me. You know, my thought of this future or my thought of this past, you know, and I feel like it's my thought. I don't think of it, oh, it's just a thought thinking. Now, if I'm meditating, I can do that where I let the thought go like a log down the river. I don't hop on that log and go on down. I can let them stream.
I could never
But
do that.
yeah, I, but I've been able to do that. But, you know, in my waking yickety yakety life, you know, I've got a story, you know, and those are my thoughts, and I'm on that thought. Does it feel like a mind? You know, the Buddhists call it like a mind like the sky. Do you just feel like your like your thought field is just, are you like more detached from it or just unencumbered, or you don't even remember them, or kind of before you said kind of they're there, whatever, like
Yeah, it's not, it's like they're not sticky anymore.
that's it, not sticky.
Like I think you said you're talking to me about your friend, another friend who woke up and
Hmm.
had to work sometimes on things to get them unsticky. And that's kind of what it feels like for me is for the most part, like even with the tenant, there was a little thing there, but there wasn't any of the Sturm and Drang and yeah, this can be horrible. I mean, that's just gone for now. Anyway, all I know is the now. But I am so lucky to have a view of a beautiful lake where I live, Makaska, and I have an incredible view of the sky above it, and so incredible to watch that sky and the trees and the lake and to see the steam. It's like minus 20 degrees here today. To watch the steam coming out of the heat vents and these incredible trees like braving that cold and the sidewalk and the cars going by are like necklaces, like a moving necklace. It's like everything becomes beautiful. It's like a moving piece of poetry or a moving piece of art, to just and to watch the birds, of course, but then also the planes. It's like, oh, that's so amazing, you know?
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
Does it feel like I think of all the changes I've seen you go through. Like I'm going to move here. I'm going to move here. I'm going to,
Oh,
you know,
yes.
and a lot of energy on this change will make a difference. What's your relationship to change or
It's
making
it being is changing. Every moment is a new be. And I'm at peace with what is. So I'm not, so in terms of changing, change is inevitable. I will keep changing. But I loved what you said about Byron Katie. I'm just a woman who is. I mean, I'm not, I was very worried about aging. I'm 68. A lot of things have happened this year physically to me, health-wise. That's gone. I'm okay for today.
things
I
really?
exercised, I'm eating well. That's the other thing that's happened though, because I know you know of my struggles with food addiction, and I do go to Overeaters Anonymous. I am very much in that fellowship. Once I woke up, the desire for sugar lifted. because that's been kind of a constant for me. That was one of my things that was really hard. I mean, I would manage to not eat it most of the time, but then when I'd be really bummed, I would like go for it because that was my reward. That was my ego's reward. Okay, well, we're just going to have sugar then because, nothing else is working. At least you forget it. We're just going to have sugar. But that has dropped away. So I take care of myself because I want to be the clearest possible vehicle I can you know, just because it feels better. It feels good to eat well and to exercise and to do these things. But it's not about I've got to look good or I've got to keep my body in shape so I can, no, it's
Yeah, it's so interesting because, you know, as I've been an emotional eater as well, and I heard a couple people on another video talk about this, about it's someone who's had, some measure of awakening, and he had been a very heavy kid, and it was just like, I've got to get this in here. I've got to get this in here to make me feel better. And he also spoke of what you're speaking of with like that shifting. And I wonder if it's like what is absent in some way is seeking, like you're not seeking anymore. And I love it when you said to be is change, and I'm a new be every moment. Like, so you're not seeking a change to recreate your sense of self and
to
let's
get
make you
better, to evolve.
get better, evolve,
Right.
be someone everyone wants to be or something,
Right.
and it's
That
like that.
finally I can be approved of and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And it's like that project is over. And
Mhm.
and you are, it's funny that Michael Jackson song, I think it's, be the change you seek. And I always thought that like, well, don't want the change over here, you do it. But as I talk to you, it's like I'm realizing it's not even a doing, just be is the
Mhm.
change
Mhm.
that the pain body or the ego would seek. How do you relate to when you speak of Eckhart Tolle's term, the pain body? How does that occur for you now in this state of presence or in the
Well,
state?
right now it's so far it's been gone. It's gone. And I had an enormous pain body.
Mm,
Enormous.
I know.
You know.
Yeah, the
I
the
mean, that's
most
why the good thing about a pain body, is that that's why I can meet people in the depths because I know I've been there in the depths of despair. I get it. I have lived there, most of the time for my whole life. So I understand pain and suffering and trauma and hardship. I get it. And I'm not afraid of it. I've lived there. So there's something powerful
yes.
about knowing that and having walked through it. But then at some point, it's okay to let it go, to drop it. Just like a bag, like you've been carrying on your back and just say, oh, there's a bag on my back. It's really big and it's really heavy and I don't have to carry that anymore and let it go. Or like the Sufis say, the veils. Just
Yes.
imagine the veils lifting and seeing clearly, you know? But I don't feel it. The pain body's gone. The ego's still there a little bit. I can feel the ego, but not much. And I'm not afraid of it. I'm not like, oh my God, don't go into your ego. Don't be egotistical. It's more like that thinking mind that I go, okay, there you are. Hello, friend. And now we're going to return to present moment, you know?
Are you sitting a lot in stillness, or are you feeling that present moment throughout the day? I know you said when you're doing a task like writing the landlord regarding the tenant, that then you step back and just enter into presence. Is it a toggling back and forth, or like how consistent is it?
No, it's always there.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was doing the tenant work, I was very focused on create. I had to create a long legal document, so I was very, very focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
But the um, presence was always there, and then it came flooding back afterwards. And like I said, there was the ego, the thought mind, the horizontal mind, the ego is that's the same thing. I call it all the same thing. Was like, and I'd be like, I'd almost laughing, like, that's just not true. You know, it's just kind of funny now, those exaggerated worrywart things that the mind wants to come up with about life. It doesn't help to worry. It doesn't help to be in resentment about the past. How is that helping anyone? Least of all me,
Yeah.
you know?
It's
Not a
interesting
bit.
when you say that's not true. I guess when you're in presence, you can maybe more easily see what is false. And when you're in maybe pain body ego, it's harder to tell. We believe our
Well,
thoughts.
it's all false.
Yeah.
All your thoughts are false
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that they're not real, in the
Yeah.
sense that they're not where to derive your life from, your beingness from. It's not even about motivation or anything because I don't have motivation anymore. It's more like, oh, I feel like singing. Like I am sitting much more. Yes, to answer your question, I'm spending much more time just looking and watching and being. But not all the time. I still love to watch I have YouTube videos I like to watch. I'm watching, I don't know, one of the many Love is Blind things. They fascinate me. So, no, I'm still doing that. And I'm performing. I'm going to be performing tomorrow. And so, but before I woke up, I would be like, oh, you got to rehearse because, oh my God, what if you get something wrong or you screw up or make a fool of yourself, right? You're 68, you shouldn't be performing anymore, whatever those voices were. And now I'm just so excited about singing. I'm singing a lot more.
Where
And
are you singing tomorrow night?
it's for one of my 12-step meetings. We're having a citywide potluck.
Oh,
So it's
nice.
just a little thing.
Ah.
But and inspiration comes to me through song a lot because I'm a singer and
Yeah.
have been for so many years. And one of the beautiful things that comes through a lot for me is this one. Simply trust. Do not the petals flutter, just
Mm, so beautiful. Hear your
so
voice
now it's just
again.
fun. It's just a creativity is flowing through me. Like just, oh, I could sing that song or I could learn that song or let's do this. And I have this little shruti box now I use. That's my main instrument that I perform with. So I don't have to just sing a cappella because I don't play the piano or the guitar. But I just am delighted by it. I'm just delighted by new possibilities and new moments of joy that I've never felt this way before. My singing, my performing was always motivated by ego. How much are people going to like me? What's going to happen? How am I going to get ahead? How can I be famous? That's all of that's dropped away. It's just what would be fun in the moment to do. That would be present moment and yummy and delicious, you know?
I mean, I feel so amazed, so honored to know you, have known you all these years, to have been given a seat at the table of one who's witnessed your inner life, your outer life, you know, your extraordinary gifts, be it singing, be it your violin, be it the healing work you do, your intellect, and all the suffering. I mean, for you to have this experience, it's for me, it is one of the best things I've ever experienced in my whole life. I am so um, happy for you, and it encourages me in my own, path. I don't think, I don't know, but I don't know that I can make this happen for me, this click awake, I just have to carry on, I suppose. But um, there in the Diamond Sutra, there's this passage where the student says to the master, if someone is, the greatest philanthropist in the whole world, it provides all these hospitals and orphanages and, money to the poor, does that person have greater merit or the one who wakes up? And the master says, well, the one who's doing the, orphanages and the hospitals and giving money to the poor has great, great, great merit indeed. Like that's a really, great person. But the one who wakes up has more merit because in their awakening, it really does lift everyone on a
Mhm.
level that that can't be achieved through doing. And
So let me tell you that I am both because for years and years I've been a healer like you, and I've healed person after person. I've healed their trauma completely. They're gone. Next person comes. I've graduated hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of people. And there's this thing from Sufism where they talk about the Layla or the woman sitting outside the door of God, who's the one who opens the door for person after person to move through, to move through, and to move through. And finally, Layla says to Source, when will it be my turn? When do I get to come through? And Source says, but you're the one that holds the door open for all these people, but your time will come. And I feel like my time is final.
yes. And the world is just, ah, it's so good for the whole world, for your whole world, for the whole world. Thank you
It's a
so much.
miracle.
It is. Thank you so much for sharing with me and sharing with my Rethink Prayer on the Air community. I know this will be very
I love you
uplifting.
so much.
Thank you, baby. I love you. Mwah. Thank you, darling. Thank you.